Welcome, everyone, to episode 13 of the Pinnacle Combat Sports Podcast. My name is Jim, and your name is...
My name's Dan.
His name is
So it's
Dan.
Ben. So it's Ben.
How you doing today, Dano? I know we didn't
Good
have
man.
we didn't do what we wanted to do because I wanted an impromptu camping trip. But when you live up in the Pacific Northwest and your girl wants to go camping, you say yes. Because you
Sure,
don't get
let's do
to
it.
as often as I'd like to. So we did
Exactly.
that for a night, and so we pushed this post podcast off a couple days because of that. So I didn't get to watch the fights live, but I watched them yesterday at the bar by myself in my headphones, and it was awesome. And
Bobby Knuckles, baby.
what a night, baby, huh?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, Bobby Knuckles, man. Let's start there. Main
I'm a
event:
big fan of him.
Robert Whittaker, Ikram Aliskerov. Hey, and let's give props to Aliskerov real quick for stepping up on such short notice against an absolute killer. But that's what you have to do in the UFC and MMA when the boss offers you that type of opportunity, you'd be crazy. Well, you'd be crazy not to take it, right?
Well, I mean, at that stage of your career, when you're just getting going, it's kind of like, then what are you here for? Like that's the way I look at it. So I totally get why he took the fight, even though it's like, yeah, it turns out maybe it's a little too soon. But that's not like that's all you do is learn from that. So plus the talent's there with him. You know, he's a very dangerous striker. So it probably served Whitaker well to try to get that out of there quick because he is dangerous in his own right. You know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But, I believe Chimaev said that he thought that was like one of his toughest fights, if not the toughest fight before
Yeah,
he landed that. I don't know the truth in it, but I heard that's what he had said. So,
yeah.
um, he belongs for sure. So and what's cool too is because what was he? He was supposed to fight, um, I'm not Antonio Trocoli. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his last name exactly, but the
Oh, yeah.
Brazilian gentleman that fought Shara Bullet. So it's like we talked about, why don't they should probably just rebook that then.
Yeah, that's a good
Maybe
idea. Yeah, why not?
Alice Gareth goes back to where he was and just kind of, reset, recalibrate, do everything kind of like you're going to learn from that. But it's there's got to be something there where that's the second time you've been like essentially stopped by an uppercut because that was the shot that really did him in.
That's what I was
And it's
just
like,
gonna say. Like, interestingly
yeah,
enough, it ended exactly the same way.
yeah,
Yeah, which is
it
kind of
is. Yeah.
crazy.
Which Chimaev's was a little more. I mean, I don't want to really say anything other than that one landed a little like it obviously knocked him out. So Whitaker just had to go in there and seal the deal with a few left hands that were vicious, and he had no problem doing that. I love the way he throws that. Love the way he throws that head kick when he has people hurt. You
Oh
know, he kind of
yeah,
whips them to the top. Um, he does that. I don't know how many fighters that do it that way.
it's like he sets
Like
it
kind
up
of a
with the
cool.
he sets it up with the jab and then kind of fakes a
Yeah,
right cross, but throws the leg behind it. Is
yeah,
that
and
what
he
you're
kind
talking
of
about?
whips like yeah, but he kind of like I don't know. He throws it like I really don't know what I'm trying to say. It's just kind of like he throws it very similar every time he has people hurt, and it just seems to always, just about always land. Like
Yeah,
he had one against what was it? Derek Brunson, I believe. Trying to think of the guys he's landed it off of. But either way, it's just a just great win for Whitaker. Gets he's right. He just held a spot. That's all he had to do. So big fight for him to take too. Take someone who's unranked that could possibly take your ranking.
yeah, and like he didn't. I mean, he's basically unfazed. He's untouched. I'd assume if and we were talking about this last time, but the middleweight division right now is stacked, and
Yeah,
there's a lot of moving parts. And with Whitaker having such a short night the other night, um, it kind of puts him in a good position that to where if something comes up soon, where they need to fill a spot or they just want to get that middleweight division going and keep the ball rolling there, he's totally able to do that now, which is kind of cool.
absolutely. Absolutely. You never know. I mean, a guy like what is it? A guy like Strickland doesn't doesn't really like to wait around, I would imagine. So you could always see them getting matched up in between if since they're doing Adesanya and Duplessis. That would that would make sense to me, right? Because I still believe Strickland he's number two, right?
Well, I think he's number one.
Whitaker's three. One. Okay, so he's one. Okay.
See, the thing is though with Strickland, it's like I agree. Strickland is not normally a guy who wants to wait around, but at the
Yep.
same time, in his position where he beat Izzy outright, and
Yep.
a lot of people would argue he beat Duplessis. So, in
He makes
his
the argument.
mind, Izzy shouldn't even be fighting for this title. He should. Um, so
He's correct.
I could see him waiting just because
It's
he's
just
already
nuts
there. He's already there.
for
Argue
sure.
no matter who wins that fight between Izzy and Duplessis, you kind of have to give that next shot to Sean Strickland. And if he goes into the ring against a killer like Whittaker and spoils that what he already has, I don't think that's. I mean, I want to see the fight. I want to see him do it, but I would. It makes sense for him to wait.
100%. Oh yeah. I'm kind of curious to see how that unfolds and see. Plus, you never know. Maybe you let's just see what happens with Adesanya and Duplessis because there's a lot of things that could happen there where just a fight in general wouldn't be on the horizon anytime soon. Like just
And
the person that wins hurts himself, breaks a hand, breaks a whatever. They're
yeah,
gonna be out for a while.
and
Oh,
Duplessis pretty much walked through Whittaker.
did just
Um,
surprised, but
which is another reason why Strickland probably wouldn't want to give him a shot to get back up there.
sure.
But
Sure.
these guys are fighters, and especially Strickland, who, he's a bad man. He might not want to wait, and just to prove that he's that guy. So I could see him
Sure.
doing that too.
Also, they haven't fought yet, right?
I don't believe
So,
so.
so that would be also another. That's kind of why it stuck out when I was just looking at it. Because so was it September? What's the date on Adesanya Duplessis?
I think it's August.
Okay, so okay, 305, right? Is it 305?
I believe it's
Okay,
305. Yeah.
definitely August though. I think it's what the 17th.
Hold on, let me
But
look it
either
up.
way,
I'm on my thing. I'm on my iPad here.
okay, cool.
So, um,
But either way, that's man, what a card that one's gonna be. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but yeah. Then I guess my question would be, what's next for Whittaker then? That's
yeah, he's in a weird spot actually. Um,
like, do you kind of just like be like, hey, I'd like to fight Chimaev when he's good, and though it's not
that
like
wouldn't be
too
a bad
far out,
idea. That wouldn't be a bad
right? I mean,
idea.
it makes sense. But it's like, who else does Whittaker really fight? Because um, I'd have to have the middleweight top 10 in front of me. But like you said, we already pretty much have it. He's three, Strickland's one. Um, I don't know who two is now that I'm blanking on it, but it's going to be obvious, right? Who is it?
I could look that up in a minute. It might be Whittaker now. I don't know.
True, true. But he was three going in, I believe. So uh, I'm just trying to think of who two was at that night because Costa was like seven that night of that fight or something like that. So he lost, so he's not going to be obviously
Oh,
up.
you're right about 305. It's August 17th.
17th, cool, cool. Oh man, that one's gonna be awesome.
Middleweight rankings. All right, so the middleweight rankings. Here we go. Middleweight. Right here. Duplessis, Sean Strickland's 1, Adesanya's 2,
Okay, so he's still two. Okay.
Whittaker's
I wasn't
3.
sure.
Yep. Oh yeah, Imavov is on. He's 4 now.
Right there, bro. Yeah, he's dangerous. He's a dangerous fight. He's a big middleweight.
Actually,
So
that'd be a fun fight for Whittaker too.
why not? Sure.
Yeah.
You know Whitaker's cool with it. Because you figure, as far as he's concerned, people will be like, oh, but that's like, he wants to probably fight someone ahead of him. I'm like, not really, man. If it's three and four, it's like he's just like once again holding a spot.
Yeah.
And if he knocks out four, then that distance himself and makes it easier for him to hold that spot and just kind of let it play out. But you want to be active. I can't argue. I don't like when people wait. I really don't.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like the only time you should be waiting is if your opponent's not able to make a certain date because they're either rehabbing something or still hurt, whatever it may be. Something that makes sense. But I hate when it's just like, they just sit and wait, and it doesn't even make that much sense. Like what you said about Strickland makes total sense.
Yeah.
But it's like I hate when they just wait. Like you don't need to be waiting right now, bro. This is not the sport for that. You're not making that kind of money where you can just be like, I'm holding out for it. It's like there's none of that.
And
Just take
arguably,
another
like,
fight.
now that I'm looking at this too, Chimaev's number 11. He's not even in the top 10. And
Yeah.
Whittaker's been doing this for how long now? Like an ex-champ. Like, I mean, why is he going to keep fighting? Like you said, I agree with a 3 against a 4. Like that makes more sense, just to stay active and show that you earn that number 3 spot. But other than that, I mean, the other up and coming guy is Brandon Allen, but doesn't he already have a fight, I think,
I
coming up?
want to say I want to say he has something booked, but either way, I really just think it's forget about the ranking for that kind of fight because that's like more of a. I think if you'd ask Whittaker, he just wants to take that mystique away. So I think people still have that mystique that Chimaev can still run through people, especially even going up in weight. I'm like, dude, he's super talented, but that's kind of a slap in the face of these other talented middleweights. Like they're all talented, man.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
saw he had his hands full with Gilbert Burns, who's we kind of figured that might happen, right? He's
Uh-huh.
not your average jiu-jitsu practitioner. Like that dude he'll stand right in front of you, and he is damn good at it too. So that was an awesome fight. But it also showed Chimaev's down for that too. So because he needs those fights before he gets to the top 5. Like you need
Yeah.
those like really, where you have to dig deep and have some adversity. You need some of that. I don't think you can. I don't think it's good to just go right up to the top and kind of like you see what happens eventually. It catches up to you
Yeah. Crazy.
in some way, you know. But
But good.
what stuck out to you besides Whittaker, obviously?
For the rest of the fights?
Yeah, get into
Um,
the list.
well, a couple things. So Whittaker, I was through the roof with that. I was pumped.
I was pretty jacked. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, just the way that it ended, and he's just such an awesome guy. I don't know.
You can tell.
I
You
just
can
love
tell.
that dude. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the man.
Volkov Pavlovich wasn't completely surprising. Um, it was a good fight though. Volkov is obviously very good on his feet. Pavlovich is kind of like a one-trick pony. Um, I think Volkov just has, and I shouldn't say that sounds really bad. Pavlovich is an amazing fighter, but like I just don't. He doesn't have the speed that Volkov has, and he doesn't have the footwork and stuff. And I just think Volkov's a little more technical than he is. Also, they were training partners. I know they said something at the weigh-ins together, but someone, I can't remember which one of them, but they were like, "Why did you want to take this fight?" They were asking him, "Why did you say yes to this fight?" Because they were training partners before this, and I think with this fight, they created some bad blood between them. Did you see that?
Yeah, and I think it's whoever's making those phone calls, man. What are they saying?
Well, did you listen to the fight companion on Rogan?
Yeah, they did mention that, which
Yeah,
I think they're right. Like, I mean, it happened to Schaub
yeah, Shab and Matt
or with him.
Mitrione.
Yeah, so it's like that seems because it's like
Sketchy.
you could like okay, so forget about because I'm not it's not like I'm saying that I think Schaub's lying at all, but that's a story. But if you listen to that dialogue at that weigh-in, they were both confused.
Yeah,
You could tell. So there's something there. It's not like someone said it and then because either way you're gonna find out. But that's a little different. That seemed a little off. That's all I would say. So it makes total sense if that's what happened.
and
If
Pavlovich
one,
pushed him after the bell. You saw that?
yeah, kind of weird, but probably because it's like
It's aggravating.
maybe he feel not even that. I think maybe you still feel like maybe you feel a certain way about it. Like even though it wasn't Volkov that did it, you probably feel some sort of betrayal if that's the case, right? If you're the one
Yeah,
that's saying like,
yeah.
oh, I didn't, or whatever. But it's just, I think it's all miscommunication or maybe something else added. But either way, it's too bad because it's kind of like it's too bad to see it happen like that. But Volkov was cool. He kind of just didn't really make a a big deal about it for the most part. It was
Yeah.
kind of like one about, but it wasn't. I mean, it was a good performance from Volkov, but it wasn't anything that was anything too crazy. I just think, like you said, I think Pavlovich just kind of looked. I don't know. He kind of looked out of sorts
He
in
just
a lot
looked
of
a
that
little
fight.
flat
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
probably just frustrated because that length is tough to deal with, and it's like you don't know how they trained or how they sparred or whatever, but I figure a lot of these guys probably aren't even going. I would imagine not 100% on each other when they do these sparring sessions with each other. I would imagine, right?
Yeah,
You think it's
probably. Yeah.
probably like 60, 70. So you're not really showing anyone much of anything as far as that goes. So this is a whole different thing with game time, like right live when it actually happens. You seem like it probably was just that. Volkov's a good striker mixed with just his physicality. It's big, got a really good jab. Um, but it was a solid win. I don't really know what's next with that because I'm not. I'll plead to not knowing heavyweight as closely because I don't. It's not one of my favorite divisions. It
Well,
just happens, and I like watching the fights, but I don't really.
I still have the rankings up, just so you know.
Oh, nice. See it then, Jim.
Um,
Might as well. Volkov's up there.
I think they haven't because they do the rankings on Tuesdays, I believe, right? They
That
redo
makes
the
sense.
rankings, so they
Yeah.
this is all this is all we're talking on Monday now, a couple days after that Saudi Arabia card.
Yep.
Um, as of right now, Volkov is number 5 and Sergey is number 3. So
Okay.
you would imagine this would switch them. I
The
would
the
think.
essential swap. Yeah.
So, but the rankings are obviously John Jones, Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gahn, Pavlovich, Curtis Blades, Volkov, Miocic. Yeah, so that's the
That's
thing
tough.
with heavyweight. It shakes it up. Like 1 or 2 wins can get you to the top, you know?
Sure. I
So,
figure. So John Jones is still fighting Stipe, right? So that leaves Aspinall kind of hanging there,
well,
who's already
Aspinall's
beat.
fighting Blades next month
I did forget about that. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
in Manchester. Yep.
So that's the interim, right? Then John Jones is waiting there, but doesn't John Jones want to fight Stipe anyway, right?
John Jones, I think, is probably going to wait till November, Madison Square Garden
Yep.
for Stipe. So nothing really big, I think, is going to happen in heavyweight until that happens.
Makes sense.
Unless, yeah, I mean, that's all we really got before November with heavyweight, at least I think. There might be some other guys lower in the rankings that might want to try to make a step towards that top 5, but like Cyril Gahn, he's I don't think he has anything set up, but I heard that UFC is doing a Paris card in September. So
Um,
most likely he'll be trying to get on that.
Plus, I heard that he's filming a movie.
Oh yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know when it was or how long it is or whatever, but I wonder. You'd imagine he probably wants to be on that either way.
Yeah, I mean well, I guess it depends on what you're doing for the movie. Is he training? Is he not training? Where's he at, you know?
It's true.
But yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
heavyweight's kind of up in the air right now. Not a whole lot going on until John Jones and Stipe fight. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I want to see Aspinall. I've been high on Aspinall for a while, and I'm just looking forward to the Manchester card just in general. Um,
That's
oh, it's gonna be great, and the fans are crazy. It's gonna be like 3 o'clock in the morning there.
oh,
They're
they're
nuts.
awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
But let's continue on with Saturday's card. We got Kelvin Gastelum and D Rod. What did you think?
It was a very entertaining fight. Um, they both landed quite a bit on each other. I don't know. It's tough to be excited about Gastelum even when he wins because it's just like I don't know. Just with the whole weight thing, it's tough to take it like overly serious at this point.
Yeah.
It's like the only reason why I say it is because it's like you saw that he has like a show like on YouTube called like Missing Weight. Like,
I
bro,
was gonna bring that up. Yeah.
you were eating not like it wasn't that it was in when you're supposed to be in camp. And the reason why I also bring that up is because we both watched the first embedded for UFC 303. And you saw Michael Venom Page, who easily could have one of those goddamn biscuits, but he said no because he has to fight, and like he's just people are just it was just one of those. I forgot what they said it was. You
Just
remember?
lack
You know
of
what we're talking
discipline.
about, right?
Just discipline.
Yeah, it's like he didn't even. You could tell he was just doing it for the camera, saying, "Oh, you tempted me." He's like, "No, that's a man that's focused."
Yeah.
So it's like, I just don't. I don't know. I just don't think it's that funny. I don't think there's anything that's funny about it.
Especially in that embedded, because just before they went to that restaurant that he's like part owner in or he's invested in, right? He watched the video of Ian Gary just talking shit about him. So that's just fuel for the fire. When he gets offered a biscuit, he's like, "Nope, I got a guy to knock out next week. I can't be eating that shit."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know, but Kelvin, man, like I like him he's a great fighter, and he looked great actually.
Oh hell yeah. Oh yeah.
But D-Rod looked great too. Like they both, I don't know, that was a pretty evenly matched fight. I thought it was entertaining. It was fun. Just D-Rod was just a little, like he kept bringing it to him. They were both walking forward, throwing, both clipping each other. It was fun to watch.
Like I said, it was a great fight. It's not that, and it's not his talent. His talent is so there. That's kind of why people are on him. If you really think about it, people that they're not like actual true could be title contenders. People wouldn't give a shit whether you take it serious or not. But the reason why they say things like that is because they have a high bar for you.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I would say it, because it's like, come on, man, you can't tell me that no matter what you say, a 185 Kelvin Gastelum versus a 170, which means he must be much more disciplined and on a diet and keep taking it, like act like a professional for those 8 weeks or whatever it'll be. That's the best version of him.
And he absolutely could do it.
Yeah, 100%. And that left hand's a lot quicker in that case. Your footwork's better. Everything, like, I've seen it. You see him at, like, I understand he's fought at 185 and done well. It's just because he's a great fighter. But it's like, I think the maximum potential is at 170 for him, as far as just going far. Duplessis is a big dude, man.
Yeah, and just imagine if you're already this great at 185, imagine you dialed in.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand the logic behind continuing to stay. Like you can't argue the fact. Like remember that old it was one of those old videos of it was showing like BJ Penn like sleeping like a tent or some shit. Remember that like those cryo things, or I forget what the fuck they are. But he was like in it. He was like pissed because he's like someone's getting their ass kicked for me having to sleep in this tent thing.
Yeah,
it's like that's the mentality. If that's what you need to do, like eating or like if that's your thing, like having some tacos or whatever, which is fine, dude. They're phenomenal. That's not the point. Then take that on the person that took them from you.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good.
You know what I mean? Like
that's a good way to think.
You gotta use it differently. You can't like. That doesn't mean you're never gonna have them, man. Like, what do you think all these fighters do for a week or two or whatever? They just go nuts. Like, then you don't even want to see it.
Yeah, then imagine how good those tacos are going to be after your big victory over the guy that took them away from you. They're going to be so much better.
I don't understand it. It's such an easy. You gotta kind of question what you're doing it for.
There was another thing too, because he was willing to do a catch weight, and he was like, "I'll do 175." And they're like, "Oh, I can't make 175." He's like, "Okay, 180." No, can't make 180. He couldn't even make 180.
That's why I don't. Yeah, it just sucks. It's too bad.
We wouldn't be having this conversation if it was like he was off by like 3 or 4 pounds. It's not that at all. Yeah. It's like, and like Daniel Rodriguez even said, he's like, I don't even think he tried to get to 170.
Yeah.
And like, what's that all about? That's that's so odd. That's weird.
But enough about that. I understand it's your career. Do what you want with it. But it's like I don't. The only reason why people bring it up so much and so often is because there's so much potential in a fighter that talented. It's just kind of like a shame to see it not. Doesn't mean you don't take it serious, but it's obviously not taken as serious as possible.
And what's
Right.
I know we got to move on from this because we're beating a dead horse, but like I think the worst part about the whole thing is how much more time does Kelvin have? He's been around a long time, and like I would love to see him dial it in for a couple years and make a good run for it. Like just go out with a bang. You know, like I don't know. I don't know. I wonder what he could be if he just dialed everything in. And he could totally do it. Just surround yourself with the right people, get yourself a nutritionist. You have the money, I'm sure, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it is what it is. He's had a great career still, but yeah, it is a shame because I'm sure that's probably what most of the UFC would say as well. I think it's just to kind of see it. Most people see it similar. I know Rogan's mentioned it. He sees it that way too.
But
As far
also
as like he thinks he's best at 170.
also now that we're talking about this and now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know, maybe his heart's not in it anymore. Maybe this is just a way to pay the bills. You know, I don't know what his mindset is going into camp, or maybe he's just not where he used to be in the game, you know? I don't know.
Sure, we'll see.
And
But
if your mind's not in it, there's no way you're going to dial in. You're not going to have, you're not going to have the mentality to even bother trying that hard because you have to push it. You know, to win a championship, you got to be some
that's what it
kind
is.
of other person, you know, like, and
Yeah, yeah,
if you're not mentally there and you're not fighting isn't the same thing it used to be for you, then it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. So,
yeah.
but next fight was Shara Bullet Magomedov. One of the performance of the night's bonuses went to him. What did you think? I thought Trockley started off great in the first round, and I wish he used his hands more. I know he's a wrestler,
Yeah.
he's a grappler, and that's where he excels in this matchup. But I don't know. I didn't think it'd hurt to use his hands more.
Oh, for sure. Then you could have mixed it up. Just gotta. He had him like you. I think it's like usually DC will always say it. Like you got to mix it up. Like, it's like 'cause if you're just going for one thing and it's clear, you're giving. You're just kind of giving your hand before you even make the move. You got to set it up. Kind of keep him guessing.
Yeah.
And like you said, he wasn't throwing enough to make him that much of a threat. So he was just kind of waiting for the takedown, which he did show improved takedown defense because it was pretty bad before. Like, but, um, but it's one of those ones where it's just like he also took a step up in competition too. Just got to give him props, just like you give Alice Cara.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think they should rebook the fight between the two of them. But it's a tough fight to take, especially on short notice. That dude throws some wild shots,
Oh yeah.
wild kicks, and he's just like a wild man, dude.
He does this weird spinning back fist. How he like kind of steps and then turns and throws a spinning back fist. It was kind of weird. It was weird timing.
It's like he's looking, he's aiming.
Yeah, it's like he's aiming for an extra like half a second there before he throws it.
Might be his good eye, baby. He's gonna hit you with that good eye real quick. That's so crazy, bro. Like that's so impressive.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Also, I know this wouldn't have changed the outcome. Well, I shouldn't say I know. I don't know, but like I doubt it would have changed the outcome. But that whole fence grab, how in the first
huge.
round, Trockley he lost position because of a fence grab. Remember, they split him apart. He had him up against the cage, and they gave Magomedov the position because Trockley grabbed the fence. And then in the second round, it was his only chance for a takedown. He had it 100%, and Magomedov grabbed the cage blatantly to hold himself up, and he didn't step in and give him the takedown. Not that would have changed the outcome, maybe, but if he was,
point.
or take a point, yeah, or take a point. But I said I
Those
would
will be
think
huge.
at least give him the position, if nothing else, because it was so blatant. It was so blatant, and it changed the whole. It changed the whole dynamic of that round, at least. You know.
Sure. Plus, those almost always are. Like eye pokes for the most part. There's some fighters that just it doesn't they're not purposely doing it, but there's a lot of fighters that it happens more frequently when they fight. And that's just their style and how they kind of go about it. That doesn't mean they're purposely trying to do it. It's just they're kind of playing the game in a way where it's just making it very close every time. Like where you know what I'm talking about. There's certain people that
They walk
like
a
to fight
fine line.
extended a lot. Exactly, yeah. So
Even like John Jones does it a lot. Just
he does it a lot, and that's the thing too, because it's like it's tough because you can't abandon it all the way. Because when he grabs the wrists on people, that's so crazy. That must be a wild feeling when you're having an MMA fight with someone and they're holding on to one of your wrists, and you don't even feel, you can't even like, what are you gonna do? Like,
now you have one arm.
He wants you to throw a punch, but like that's the thing that's so crazy. There aren't many fighters that can even attempt that.
Yeah.
Be in that range, and he just kind of just walks in and just grabs your. That's wild. That's the type of shit where you're like, okay, come on, let's do something else. But sorry, I went on a tangent there. What were we talking about?
But what we were saying is like,
the fouls.
The fouls. Yeah.
You got to take a point there, dude. Anytime someone grabs the cage, I think when they're getting taken down, you got to take a point outright. And
Especially
you take away
that's that blatant.
Yeah, and you got to give that. I think you give them that spot too.
And especially when you took the spot away from the other fighter just a round before for something that was like not even that big of a deal.
It makes it even worse when it was like even more blatant later. It wasn't even called. That's a tough one. Tough pill to swallow. And then you get stopped.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, man.
But good on Bullet, man. He looked great. I can't wait to see who he fights next. I saw Bo Nickel called him out. He joked afterwards. He said, "Give me Bullet." And then he said Shevchenko. So, but that'd be a cool fight. That'd be good to see. I'd like to see that.
Makes sense to me. I don't have a problem with anyone that Bo Nickel fights. He's just, he's not going to stay undefeated forever in that division. It's just what it is. So the best part about his game probably evolving is going to have after a loss or two. Wait till that happens, and you'll probably really see what kind of fighter he can become.
Yeah.
That division's crazy, man. Like, I know he's not thinking that way. That's the right way, but I mean, if I'm just being honest, I don't think you're going to fight all these guys at middleweight. If you beat them, I mean, Jesus, if you beat them all, I mean, what the hell? Like,
yeah, right. I know.
That's wild. Like, I'm not saying you can't. That's not what I'm saying. But
well, I mean, dude, we spent like the first 10 minutes of this episode talking about all the different possibilities that could happen just in the top 5 of that division. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different matchups that could happen at any moment, and all of them make sense, and they're all killers, and you have no idea who's going to win or lose.
That's the only reason why I say that with someone like Bo Nickel, but he's so green. Say that about anybody, because it's like the best part about all these fighters is when you see them at the highest level and they take a tough loss and they come back and get it right. Yep. And it's like those are the best fights, because those are the ones you're happy for. Because those are the ones, if you're like a true MMA fan and you watch all these cards, then you should know, okay, a guy like, I'm trying to think of a good example. There's so many, but it's like, I don't want to even single one out, but it's like one guy loses a big fight, anyone, woman, man, any weight, and they come back and get one at like the highest, and it's like a statement. It's like even like Whittaker's had a tough go lately, but it's just because he's fighting the top competition. So it's like he's losing to some of these guys that they belong right there in that top 5 with him. So it's like you said, any given night.
Yeah, we've talked about guys like Charles Oliveira.
That's a good example. Yeah,
we've talked about him in the same regard, when he fought a month or two ago. He used to be the guy that quit. And he, like, in the last couple years, he's been dialed in. That dude is still one of my favorite fighters to watch to this
Something
day.
changed, yeah.
And
That
something
was always there.
when he had his daughter, when he had those couple losses, a switch flipped in him. And it's good to see when guys do that and they come back and you can win a title and you can be one of the best. I mean, Dustin Poirier, another one.
Yeah.
Who hasn't always had the illustrious career that he has had in the past couple of years. He's had to come back from. He builds his whole persona over falling down and getting back up. That's why people love him so much.
I feel bad for who has to fight Gaethje next, bro, because he's gonna take like plenty of time off. But like, yeah, good luck. Good luck with that one.
Yeah, right. I know.
That dude's coming back, taking someone's head off. But
well, this is a good segue onto this next fight. Johnny Walker, Volkan Ozdemir.
It's a rough one.
This might be one of those ones for Johnny Walker where he has to hit the drawing board again and first of all see if he's in the right weight class, see if he's got the right people around him. I mean, something's got to change, and I don't know what it is, but he needs to pick himself up because we talked the other day, and I'm not the biggest fan of Johnny Walker, but I know what he's capable of. I know he's a great fighter, and I'd like to see him figure it out, you know?
He's too big of a guy to be at that weight when he could be at heavyweight fighting people. Like, especially there's so many fighters that heavyweight he could be fighting that he could have a pretty clear speed advantage. He could showcase your skills. Don't be too reckless, but showcase your skills. Like, I don't see why that's not the move, but I don't know. I think it's more of a back to a drawing board and figure out why your defense is so porous. Because you take some shots that you probably shouldn't. Is it just your aggressive manner, or is there something else in your defense that needs some tweaking? You know? I don't know what it'll be.
And he kind of has, I don't know, he gets touched and he goes out for whatever reason. And I'd be terrified for him if he went up to heavyweight and had to fight someone like Derek Lewis.
You know, that's it wouldn't be anytime soon. But the only reason why I say it is because if he's not cutting all that weight, it might be able to take a better shot. Plus, he might be in a better position to just not absorb it. You know what I mean? Plus, like Ozdemir hits hard.
Yeah,
he's a heavy hitter for that division in general.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the answer is for a guy like that. It's like you said, there's so many other questions you don't quite know the answer to. So how could you even pinpoint it?
And he did recently change camps. He went to SBG in Ireland, so he did change.
I think he's been in and out of there for a little bit. If I'm not mistaken.
Well, I think it's like his main gym now.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I don't know, but Volkan did get the other performance of the night bonus. I think rightfully so. He looked great.
Yep, he did.
What's some of the prelims you liked? I know you mentioned a couple of them to me yesterday, but what do you got?
I would say number one would have to be Felipe Lima getting that big win. That was his UFC debut.
He got another $50K performance of the night.
That's awesome. Well deserved, because it's like you took the fight. I believe wasn't that also like a short notice fight in some way?
Yeah, I think
was it him?
He flew from LA, or was that the other guy?
There's so many. I believe you're right, but there were so many. It's hard to.
Yeah, I think he was one of the ones that flew from LA, like 4 days notice or something like that.
I mean, come on, talk about like especially. I want to say he might have been losing the first 2 rounds too.
I agree.
So, huge submission. He just saw it and he took it, and it was like one of those ones where, man, huge win because he showed a lot. He also showcased, even though he was losing those rounds, it's not like it was a landslide. He showcased some skill. You really saw it in him, especially his speed.
Yeah, that was one of the things I noticed early when I was texting you. I was like, this dude's quick.
Yeah. Actually, you swore, Joe, but that's all right. I will give you a pass.
All right. Yeah, I was a little buzzy, so
dude, you should hear this. It was I'm not even gonna repeat it, but no, he looked awesome, dude. Like he really did. Like it makes you excited to see what's next for him because it's like they also mentioned that. So he figured that that was his 13th win, so he's 13-1. It is, I believe, his first fight he lost.
Wow.
I remember if I heard that right on the broadcast when they said it. So I believe he's 13 straight fights.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
Check. Let's see. I'll check that right now, Jim. But what stuck out to you? What will be the next other ones that the ones I mentioned too on the prelims? What'd you think?
That one was definitely the number one performance. Nicholas Dalby. That was a
Fun
close.
fight.
That was a pretty close fight. That was a fun fight, and I
It was.
think
It was
if that went another 5 minutes, I think Dalby would have taken it.
such a warrior, man. Like just the way he fights. He took a shot,
Yeah.
dropped to his knees, and like the way where the whole just go down kind of like a sheet, just like a. That was dude. He's a. Every time I see him on a card, a lot of times he's on those those European cards. You'd see him. So
Yeah.
I even watched him when he was out of the UFC. But he's just a fun fighter to watch, dude. So I always get excited when I see his name, but I knew he had his hands full. Do you know how to pronounce that? I had to get his name down too.
Oh yeah.
Tough
You
one.
had it better than I did last time. Renat.
It's like a Ratina.
Fuck.
Oh, geez, easy, Jim. You getting those flashbacks for those texts you sent me. Unreal.
Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't even try butchering it.
Bagaretina, Dina. Oh, jeez, dude.
Something like that.
You just gotta hear it a couple times. Like, I mean, that's dude. I don't even know if that's the toughest one.
No.
You see, Magomed Gadziasulov.
Oh yeah, that's a nightmare.
That's a tough one.
Jeez.
Let's see who else looked really good. That was a little shout out to probably the longest round ever. That first round of the first fight
Oh yeah, you just showed me
went
that.
over a little bit. That was so weird, right?
Hold on,
It was like
explain
right
that to
after.
people who are listening.
I'm just going off of memory, but it's like I remember it was like the clock went to zero and you saw it go to zero, and then you heard that 10-second clapper like right after it's hit zero. You could hear like the clapper, so you're like, okay, that should be 10 seconds left. So the fighters are still going, the referee's still watching. So I wonder if did they start it 10 seconds late or what happened there?
But the commentator
Just,
John Anik said that they were going to the second round. Like he was correct in
they
the
were on
video
it,
you
yeah,
sent
because
me.
they're probably looking at it like because they're there live, so they're sitting there
Yeah.
and they know the clock's going to zero, and then they hear the clapper go off. They probably noticed that it didn't even go off in the first place, maybe, but I didn't because I was just kind of like locked into it, and then next thing you know, it hit zero, and then I heard that I'm like, what the? The ref's all in still. It was kind of weird. They hit the commercial. I was like, what the? But it's kind of a weird way to start the first ever Saudi Arabia card. But dude, it was an awesome card.
Here's another thing to mention that I saw online yesterday or earlier today is that, and this totally makes sense because it was in Saudi Arabia, but I don't know if you noticed, but there were no ring girls.
Oh, it's kind of stuck. That sucks. I didn't notice that, but that does suck.
Because they're not about that out there.
They don't like that. They don't like that for whatever reason. I don't get it. But each their own.
Yep, no ring
But,
girls. Yeah.
let's go Vegas. 303, baby. Let's go Vegas. You know they'll be there in Vegas, Jim.
Yeah, bring them all out.
They're gonna be there. I hope all of them are there.
All right, that we can move into that then. We'll do a quick, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes on 303 because we do have a pre-UFC 303 episode coming out. So we want to save some of that. We still have all the embeddeds to watch. We got the weigh-ins to watch later this week, but let's just go over the card real quick and just general, like, quick, I guess maybe picks if you want.
Sure. What do you picks as far as Just the
Just
straight up winners
winners.
or
Just
picks for
winners.
fights to watch? Let's go for it.
Just winners, and then we can get more in depth on the next episode, the pre-episode. Main event: Alex Pereira, Yuri Prohaska 2. Who you got, and why?
I'll take Pereira because I still think he's the best in the world right now in that weight. But Oscar's dangerous. You never know. So it wouldn't surprise me. But if I was a betting man, I would take Pereira.
Yep.
And I don't even know if I picked a round yet, but I think it happened in the second round of the first fight. It wouldn't surprise me if that was a similar. But you never know. It could be. I'm kind of hoping for like a classic. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I want a classic, good fight. But I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be one-sided. I think I'm going Pereira. I mean, you know what? I'm even gonna go. I'm gonna go first round Pereira.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me, Jim. He's dialed in, man.
Yeah, have you seen some of the sparring footage of him and like, I guess he was sparring some like I don't know, Golden Gloves boxer, like a 250-pound boxer recently.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. All right, this is the matchup that me and you are most excited for. Brian Ortega and Diego Lopez. Who you got?
I gotta I'm still gonna call it. Okay, so right now Diego Lopez is a negative.
He's the favorite.
135. Okay, so I'm still calling him the underdog because I think that's what he should be. I'm taking him. I'll take the underdog.
You're taking.
I don't get that at all. I don't think he should be favorite. I mean, cool. Ortega, like where he's still at. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I'll take Lopez, who appears to be the favorite here, but both know he is the underdog in this fight. I'll take the underdog. I'll take him.
You're taking Lopez.
I'm just a big Lopez fan. I am.
Yeah.
Ortega's gonna be a tough puzzle for him, though.
I love both guys.
Ortega's he's so good.
Yeah. I think I'm going Ortega on this one. Both for the betting money and just for the experience.
Yeah, that could show. That could definitely show.
But that's
especially how good his boxing is. Especially how great his jiu-jitsu is. Like, if you because Lopez, he comes at you and he's like a tornado. So he could be out of position and then Ortega takes an arm and does whatever. Like, he's that good at that, especially. So
it's gonna be
wouldn't
awesome.
Shock me at all, man. Yeah, it's going to be an awesome fight. But Lopez he's fun to watch, man. I like new blood, too, so I get excited when I see a guy like that coming up looking that good. I'm like, oh, I kind of want to see him fight the champ. That's immediately what I start thinking.
Yeah.
When someone starts looking that good. But, I mean, Ortega also hasn't fought Pereira as far as I know. So, like I said, anyone who's new to the champ sounds great. Like, there's so many fighters, especially in these weight classes. So,
yeah.
Very much looking forward to it.
All right, we got Anthony Smith and Roman Dolidze.
That's awesome. Shout out to Anthony Smith for taking a bunch of fights in a row. And
yeah, the fight that's changed 4 times.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's cool, though. Hey, it is what it is. And it's Roman Dolidze coming up in weight because he's a middleweight as far as he's been fighting, I think.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I believe. He's a big fellow, though. So he's going to have no problem with it. He's going to look fine. But
actually, yeah, he was on the...
fights at middleweight.
Technically, he's ranked number 10 in middleweight.
Yeah, because his last 2 fights, he lost to Imavov, who we mentioned, and who was it? Vittori. So he's fighting top competition in middleweight, but it might be kind of cool to see what happens. You know, a big win at light heavyweight, he might feel good. Like I said, he's a pretty big fella, so he's had no problem fitting in there. It'd be interesting, but I kind of like Anthony Smith there. I gotta go roll with him.
Yeah, me too. Same.
I'll take him by submission.
Agreed.
Yep.
All right, Myra Bueno Silva and Macy Chasen.
I like Bueno Silva. She's pretty well rounded, especially I think I kind of like her Understand that's pretty good. I'll take her.
Yeah, Macy
Don't
Jason's
know
really
how.
good though. I remember watching her last fight, and I didn't think she was gonna
Got a
win, but
big
she,
frame, dude. Big frame.
yeah,
She uses it well. It'll be interesting. It will be a tough fight. There's a lot on that line because for them, because aren't they both ranked pretty high in bantamweight?
Bueno Silva's number 3 and Macy Jason's number 7.
Okay, definitely significant. Yeah, so it sounds like you like Jason.
No, I just remember watching her last fight, and I didn't think she was gonna win, and she pulled through, and she looked pretty good. So she
Yeah, I know.
impressed me a little bit. So I'm looking forward to watching her again. I'm
Oh,
not
for
sure.
sure.
I haven't really made a decision on this one yet. Maybe no. You're probably
I mean,
Bueno Silva's probably gonna win, but I just want to see Macy Chasen. I would
I'll
pick
just take where
Silva.
I'm leading. I'll just take where I'm leading. That's all.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like another fight. The next one, I also don't think the favorite should be the favorite. I think it should be swapped. But
Well, I'm not seeing odds for this one right now. What are the odds that you're
oh yeah,
seeing?
okay. I mean, it's slight, but Ian Gary -135. Michael Venom Page +115.
Hmm.
I just don't. I would have. I would have thought that'd be swapped. But like I said, it's barely a. These are all. That's what's another thing about this card. This card's all pick'em fights.
Yeah.
Look at it. Okay, so it's real quick. Here, Hayden Prohashka, -155, +130. Ortega Lopez, +115, -135. Smith Delite, +120, -140.
Huh.
-115, -105. That's even closer. And then -135 +115. They're all like razor thin, man. This is gonna be I think this is gonna be a great card.
Yeah, it is.
Pay per view especially. But I shouldn't even say that. This card's crazy. Like if you look at the
Even the
prelims,
prelims? Yeah, we even got to the prelims.
if you're gonna fast forward this card, you'd be looking at this card like, holy shit, maybe in a few years.
Yeah.
With a couple of the names in the bottom there, especially like I said, that's a dude. That dude Peyton Talbot is that dude's the real deal.
Dude, the first
He
fight on
just
the whole night is Ricky Simon,
yeah, it's awesome.
and he's great.
Yep, it's a great card.
Andre Arlovsky on the early prelims. Yeah, Peyton Talbot, Cub Swanson, and Andre File.
Yeah, Jordan and Silva's gonna be good too.
Joe
But
Pfeiffer.
yeah, I know. Yeah, Joe Pfeiffer and Andre Barrial. He's really good, man. He's very much slept on at that weight.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting though. I think that might be a get right fight for Pfeiffer. But as far as what do you think about the Gary and Venom Page?
Oh, I'm so back and forth.
Yeah, you are.
I would bet MVP. I think he has more experience, and now that he's in UFC, he has more to prove. But I think it's going to be an awesome fight. I don't think it's going to be a finish. I'll say that.
Okay.
What do you think?
Man, I don't know, but I kind of worry about. I don't really worry about it, but
I would go
Venom Page.
MVP by split decision. That's what I think.
Okay, okay. But do you see it being more of like a both difficult fighting each other in range, and it kind of just not a lot happens, or do you think it's going to be just a really good fight and it's very close, and
Ooh.
it's a split that way? How do you see the split?
I think you're gonna have one really close round, maybe even the first, like a feel out round, and then
Yep,
each fighter's gonna have their own like standout round.
gotcha. Which makes it tough. Okay.
And these guys should have this should be a 5 round fight. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's gonna be awesome. I like both guys. I'm really excited about both of them. They have a lot, obviously a lot of potential, and this is kind of like this is the make or break for to see who's going to climb the rankings. You know,
Oh, it's
this
big
is
fight.
that like
Okay.
teeter totter that who's going to get the advantage here, and they're both kind of, I know, MVP's been around a lot longer, but this is, I mean, they're both meeting at this point at the same exact time, and they're both super talented. I'm just really looking for. I'm surprised it's the first on the card.
It's a crazy way to start the main card.
I know.
It's great, dude. I'm kind of worried about Gary getting caught here. I feel like this could be the fight because like Venom Page is so tough to deal with. Like that Holland, like that's the thing. Like you can say whatever you want about Kevin Holland, but it's like he's been in there with some crazy talent. So I don't recall a time of him ever being on the stool in between rounds saying he's just not there. I can't find him in any of those fights other than that one. That was something that's very telling. When your corner's telling you, he's like, no, I understand what you're saying, but I'm telling you, he's nowhere. I can't find this. He's nowhere to be found. That's got to be a crazy feeling.
Yeah.
Like knowing and that's the thing, because you can be like, okay, he's nowhere to be found. Like, no, he's hitting me, but he's nowhere. I can't counter. I don't even know how to stifle his attack, so I don't even see it coming.
It sounds
so it's
like
I worry about that.
He's like 3 moves ahead of you.
It's nuts, dude. You think you have, like, that's the thing. You think you have like high level crazy reflex, and then you meet a guy like that, and you're like, oh shit! Like that doesn't mean you don't have it. I just think as far as the striking goes with that point fighting where he's just playing tag with you, but he's really tagging you, man. Like he's not like just tag. Like he's so elite at that, and you can't. I don't know how you replicate it effectively. I don't know how you find that guy like that, because there's only one guy really like that.
Well, there's been guys like that before. Dominic Cruz was always that guy before.
No, he was in a different, like with a different stance, like the way he would switch stances. So
yeah,
I get what you're saying. Yes, that's true. There are versions of that, but he's just there's something different about that point karate, because like for the most part, a lot of those guys, I don't think much of them, and I'm not saying it about anything other than when I'm thinking of like high level, like UFC caliber guys. I'm like, he's a crazy exception, man. That's one of the fights I'm very excited for.
Yeah, me too.
I could easily see it go the other way, because I think Ian Garrett can knock out anyone at welterweight. The talent's there.
He's got the mentality for it too. He's got so
100%.
much confidence.
He has it all. He's the total package. I just don't know if the knockout's going to present itself for him. That's all.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not anything other than that.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to end this episode, because I don't want to talk too much. We can get more into it next week.
That's true. Yeah, we still have one more to go.
Yeah. We spent a good 15 minutes on that. So, Dan, it's been great talking to you. Great fights this week. Can't wait for the pay-per-view. I already sent you money, right? I'm pretty sure. I can't wait.
Paid in full.
Dude, I can't wait for next week. It's going to be so awesome.
Dude, I'm so pumped.
For anyone listening, thank you for the support. Please follow us on our Instagram at Pinnacle_combat. Our YouTube channel is the same username, at Pinnacle_combat. Please, if you like this show or you think you have some friends that might like it, that watch MMA or boxing or anything like that, please send it their way. Share, subscribe, listen, enjoy, drink beer, do whatever, watch the fights with your friends.
Do all of those things.
Yeah, just have a good time, be a good person, and we'll see you next week. How's that?
Absolutely, dude. Hey, Jim, it's been lovely. Thank you.
You gonna have another mule?
I don't know. Maybe.
I'm gonna go get myself some beer, I think.
We'll watch that Stanley Cup Game 7, I'll tell you that.
Stanley Cup Game 7. Let's go Edmonton, right?
Oh, we'll see. Yeah, I'm rooting for him.
Let's go. All right, man. I'll talk to you next week. And everyone listening, peace.
Sounds good. Bye, bye.